pretty tough time there against a very hot Purdue team that's only lost one game at home this year.
Just like you mentioned, they're very hot at home. It's incredible if you look at their stats for three-point shooting, how well they shoot it at home versus how poorly they shoot it on the road. And they had some guys that really shot the lights out, especially in the first half. We didn't contest shots like we normally do, and unfortunately we came up short.
And looking at the rebounding numbers, that was tough.
Like you said, Johnny, they got some big guys.
They do. Couple 7-footers.
Multiple 7-foot guys. And here, the last time we played them, we were able to play physical. We were able to front the post. We got a lot of deflections. At their place, we got some fouls early. The guys that came off the bench, DeMonte Dodd, Michael Tchaikovsky came in. We got a couple fouls early, so we couldn't play as physical as we would have liked. And unfortunately, they took advantage of it and scored inside.
And you're down by 16 in that first half. You lose the game at Purdue with a final of 83-79. And 16 points down, you climb back, and you made it. You tied the ball game late in the second half, which is a real feather in the cap to the guys to be able to come from that deep a hole.
Sure, I think our guys were very resilient.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Turgeon did some different things in the second half. We changed our defenses. We changed a little bit of what we were doing on offense. And again, I thought our guys were resilient getting back in the game, getting the right stops, getting deflections, getting turnovers, and then we scored on offense. And then, 3 minutes to go. Like you said, the game was tied. We could have had a go-ahead basket here or there. We missed. We went inside one specific time to Diamond Stone, who was very hot. We lobbed it over the top. We felt as a coaching staff that he had gotten fouled. There was a controversy by some of the referees. They went to the monitor for some reason, and we were a little
for a long time.
Yeah, it was
long
like,
time.
What's the issue here? Because we thought it was a foul. Were you going to call a foul? They were just saying out of bounds, Maryland ball. They went to the monitor, and for some strange reason, they said, well, out on Maryland, Purdue ball. We couldn't understand it at the particular time, and after you watch video footage, whether it's the overhead copy or the TV copy, it was obvious that Diamond got fouled by A.J. Hammonds, got hit in the head, and it should have been, hey, we're going to the line, shooting one-on-one. Now we have the momentum. Instead, they get momentum, they get a score, and we couldn't catch up from there.
Coach, it looked like you had that momentum going against Michigan with a great crowd at Xfinity Center. And then, it's awfully tough. We've talked time and time again about how difficult it is to win this year in the Big Ten. Everybody gets knocked off by everybody else. Some of the lower guys that don't get much recognition knocking off the big guys. Look at Iowa and Ohio State yesterday, and how difficult it is to win on the road. But now at 23-6, you got 2 games to go, regular season. You got this coming Thursday night against the final regular season game against Illinois, and then you go to Indiana on Sunday. And a chance, if Iowa can beat Indiana tomorrow, you could be tied for first place, 4-way tie.
Coach Turgeon's been talking about that for the last couple of weeks. Hey, we control our own destiny. We can't control what any other team does. He has a great quote, and I've definitely adopted it. Hey, you can only coach your team. So I think our guys understand, like, hey, let's just coach each other. Let's do the best job we can in practice. Let's prepare for Illinois. And then once we play that game, then we'll prepare for Indiana. But first and foremost, let's concentrate on Illinois. Let's try to win that game. Let's try to play well so that we have some momentum going into Indiana. Like you said, they're in first place, solely in first place. So let's just control what we control. We have practice for the next couple of days, and then we prepare and get ready for Illinois.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more of the Mark Turgeon Radio Show. We'll talk to head coach Turgeon when we do come back on the Terrapin Sports Radio Network.
Sports Radio Network.
Johnny Holiday.
And let's welcome in Maryland's head coach Mark Turgeon tonight on the road doing some recruiting. Coach and I brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And Coach, you might have heard our conversation with Coach Warren about a very tough one, but I was really proud, as you were, of the way the guys came back after being down by 16 at Purdue.
Yeah, we didn't have a great start, and they had a tremendous start. They were making shots, and we were making some mistakes, and the building was electric. It was a great crowd. Purdue had a great crowd that day, and have a nice team. They have a top 15 team in the country, and it was a tough game. But yeah, I was proud of our group. We did every phase well, but rebounding, but we did a lot of things that encouraged me moving forward, and in a hostile environment. And I think we learned a lot about ourselves, and it's really 2 games in a row now, the Michigan game and the Purdue game, where we played better basketball. and got the team, I think, back and heading in the right direction.
And, Coach, not too shabby with the 23 wins already in that win column and only 6 losses. 3 of those have come in the last 4 games against some very, very tough Big Ten competition. Your free throw shooting continues to be terrific. 16 of 18 Saturday.
Yeah, it was big. We missed a big one late, but it was terrific. And we work on it. We have good shooters, and they stepped up. And it's it was, like I said, it was a hostile environment. Guys stepped up and made shots, and which I was really proud of. But this league is really good this year, Johnny. It's we've had a very difficult road schedule. We let one get away at Minnesota, a game we should have won. Everybody knows that. But we played some really, really good teams on the road, and we've been in every game. Just haven't quite figured out how to come up on top. But the schedule that we're playing, especially here late in the year, is really preparing us for the NCAA tournament, which is exciting. So if we can play these really good teams on the road and play them tough, and hopefully get a victory here, sometime soon, maybe this weekend. But it's preparing us for hopefully a really strong NCAA tournament.
Coach, am I correct in saying that you can't worry about what everybody else is doing? All you can worry about is what you're doing.
Yeah, and I've always kind of lived that way, and the way I coach, and I don't worry about what people say, or what people write, or what other teams are doing. I worry about my team, and that's why I've been able to stay pretty even keeled. And usually our team starts to play better towards the end of the year. We took a slide late this season, but I do think our best basketball is still ahead of us. So, yeah, we just worry about our team. We're trying to figure it out, trying to get better, trying to figure out a way to guard a little bit better. We haven't guarded well. We guarded pretty well first shot defense, on against Purdue. We just couldn't get rebounds, but we got to get back to guarding the way we're capable of guarding. Our offense has been terrific. We've averaged, over 82 points a game our last 2 games. So we just got to get the defense heading back in the right direction.
And I think, we've talked recently about how well Jake Layman's been playing of late. Seems like almost every game he's had a terrific game. This might have been one of his better games. He only missed, 1 or 2 shots the entire game, 7 of 8 from the field.
Yeah, he missed one. I think it was the dunk on the lob.
Right.
And, it's the one he missed. So, yeah, and I thought he was good defensively, rebounded the ball well. I think 1 turnover. And that's really where we, Johnny, all week we talked about valuing the ball. I thought our shot selection was better. We had 6 turnovers against a team that pressures on the road, a big, strong team. And, I was pleased with that. So we made a lot of headway. We did a lot of really good things. And Jake continues to play well. He's having a terrific senior year. He's peaking at the right time here. He's playing his best basketball of the season here late. So it's exciting for him. Of course, we got senior night for him on Thursday, and he just had a tremendous career, and he's having a great senior year.
And Melo, it seemed like he's right almost back where you'd like him to be all the time. 19 points, 5 assists, and he's averaging 14 a game and hit 9 of 10 at the line.
Yeah, the key is that Melo's starting to get to the foul line. He shot 8, and 10 the last 3 games, and those are numbers that he was putting up last year. And so we're spacing the floor better, we're moving the ball better, we're allowing him to have the space that he needs. He's still not shooting the ball the way that Melo can shoot it. He showed signs of it on Saturday. More importantly, he took care of the ball. He had the assist, and I thought he was better defensively on Saturday. So he's becoming back to the complete player that he was early in the year for us. So, like Jake, I think Melo's, starting to get it back, and I think his best basketball of the year is still ahead of him.
Coach, you mentioned about Jake will be one of the seniors who'll be saluted on Thursday night at the Xfinity Center. A sold-out, packed house will be on hand there to watch you get, hopefully, that 24th win. Jake Layman will play his last game. Rashid Suleiman, who I know you'd like to have had in your program to coach more than 1 year, he'll play his last one. Varun Ram will play another senior, have another senior night coming up.
Yeah.
And should be a very, very emotional and very uplifting evening.
Yeah, and Trevor Ansman
as well, yeah.
And Trevor's just been tremendous for us. What a great kid he is, and he's taken on kind of a leadership role. He's done a lot of good things within our team. So, yeah, Varun's setting a record, 2 senior days, and which will be great. He's been terrific, been a great kid, and Rashid's had an unbelievable year. Didn't shoot the ball well, and he's disappointed in the way he shot it on Saturday, but he's been our best defender. He's been he's been a great leader for us, and so So I think it's been a great senior year for him. Should be a fun night.
Coach, before we let you go, I know you're on the recruiting trail tonight. What can you tell us about practices these next couple of days to prepare and maybe to get just a little bit better in that rebounding area you've been concerned about all year long?
Well, I said after the game, the guys got to want to rebound. We teach technique. We talk about it. We put a bubble on the rim in practice so the ball won't go through the rim, so someone has to rebound it. And we continue to work on it. At some point, it's got to mean enough to them that they want to do it, and hopefully at crunch time it will. Now, Purdue's a heck of a rebounding team, so they've out-rebounded every opponent except us. We tied them at home in the league, so they're a heck of a rebounding team. But we got to get better at that, continue to take care of the ball, continue to execute, down the stretch here like we're starting to execute offensively, and just, keep our, stay positive. And hasn't gone the way we wanted the last 4 games, but the last 2 we've played better and stayed positive. And like you said, Johnny, we got a chance to win our 24th game on Thursday night, and that won't be easy, but we're going to show up and try to play well and get number 24 on Thursday.
Did that surprise you? You saw Illinois beat Minnesota last night, 84-71. Was that
No, it didn't surprise me. Illinois, they play hard. They're good at home, and Minnesota set their starting 1, 2, and 3 out. I guess they're 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, and then their backup point. They all set out last night. So I wasn't surprised that Illinois won. And Illinois plays hard. They got good players. They shot the ball well last night. John does a good job with them, and they're in every game. And they've just come up short because they haven't had the depth that they've had. So we know it's going to be a battle. Illinois is the one team in the league that we have not beaten in the Big Ten. They beat us at third place last year. So hopefully we can cross that off on Thursday. Hopefully we can figure out a way to win and say we've beaten all 13 teams in the Big Ten.
All right, Coach, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for joining us here, and we'll see you on Thursday night.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Johnny.
Maryland's head coach Mark Turgeon on the recruiting trail, and you got to do it, Coach Warren. You got to get out there and hit the schools and recruit, even though you got yourself a pretty good record and pretty good ranking. Always got to look to the future.
Always. You got to keep improving,
right.
Just like Coach talks about all the time. You don't want to sit around and just wait for people to come and say, hey, I want to come play for you. You want to make sure we are getting what we want. Just like on offense, on defense, we've got to make sure we do what we can control. So we want to try to control it as best as possible. And like I said, Coach Turgeon, Coach Clark are out recruiting, trying to get some more players for next year. Coach Ranson and I were on campus today with our guys. Coach didn't mention on the phone, but we gave our guys off Sunday. They took some time off today from practice, but we still got up some individual shots. They got a chance to lift with our strength coach, Kyle Tarper, does a good job. So we want to keep them in the flow of things. But again, as I mentioned earlier, Coach Turgeon is really good, really smart about saving their legs for games this time of year, late February, going into March. You want to have strength, you want to have stamina, you want to have guys to be mentally fresh as well as physically fresh. And I think having a day and a half off, if you will, I think guys will be ready to practice for the next 2 days to prepare for Illinois.
One of the most important ingredients of any successful basketball program is the video part of Maryland basketball, of any school for that matter. Mark Bialkoski will be with us in a moment. We'll talk with him about his role in his first season as video director for the men's basketball team when we come back in just a minute. The Mark Turgeon Radio Show with assistant coach Cliff Warren, Johnny Holliday with you on the Terrapin Sports Radio Network.
Radio show, Mark Turgeon and Johnny Holliday.
The video department at the University of Maryland is so very, very important because without Mark Bialkoski and the work he does, Coach Warren, the other coaches, Coach Clark and Coach Ranson would not be able to, and head coach Mark Turgeon, not be able to look at opponents and see what the video shows they're going to possibly do against Maryland. It's a tough job, and one thing I noticed, Mark, as soon as we're on the road, that game is over. You got that computer out on the bus, on the plane. It's a never-ending job for you.
It's first and foremost, it's a blast. The video position, in my eyes, first and foremost, it's a support staff role. So what that means to me is it's my job to support the staff in any way possible. So if that's helping them in video, if that's helping them in any function possible, that's my first priority, is how do I help the staff today? And then just in terms of video, it's for me, it's putting our coaches and our staff in the best position to succeed through video.
And you're shooting the games yourself.
So what we'll do,
And you have somebody else to help you as well.
So what we'll do, home games and road games, we'll film ourselves. We don't like using a TV copy. TV copy, sometimes you won't be able to see the whole play. Sometimes TV copies, after a made basket, they'll show who made the basket instead of who's getting back or who's not getting back in transition. Sometimes the TV copies, you won't be able to see maybe a baseline of bounds situation because the TV's showing a crowd or showing something else. So we'll film ourselves on the road, so we get to see everything all the time. And then what we'll do after the game is we break down the game. We try to break it down in terms of every possession, what we're doing, what we're running, what was the result of that play. Our individual players made baskets, missed baskets, turnovers, assists, blockouts.
So if Coach Warren wants something specific, he can say to you, I'd like to look at this, look at that.
Hopefully the way we break it down is once he gets a copy of the game, he can just click a button or two buttons, and he has exactly what he needs. So if he wants to bring Robert Carter in to watch anything in particular, hopefully it's all right there.
Johnny, before, as an assistant, as a head coach, before we even ask, Mark already has it broken down. By the time we get on the plane, he has it broken down player by player, play by play, offense by offense, defense by defense. So we have, let's just say we have 10 offensive plays that we ran. He already has it broken down. We ran play A 4 times. We ran play B 6 times. We ran play C, et cetera, et cetera. And the opponent's play is already broken down. So he makes our jobs so much easier. And before Mark came, again, I thought it was great to have a video person, have edits and things like that.
Where would you be without him?
Where would we be without Mark
Exactly.
Bialkoski? Exactly. He makes the job easier, not just after the games, but preparing for the games. When we talk about scouting, I'll let him continue to talk about that. He makes the job so much easier for the staff and for the team because he already has watched multiple games.
Oh, mainly because at Charlotte you were director of basketball operations. You're familiar with what a head coach wants, what the assistant coaches want. And we continue about when you're breaking down the video and so forth. And then you give it to each individual coach or each individual player.
So a coach sets it up as each assistant will have their individual scout, and that coach will report to Coach Turgeon. So the way I view it is if it's Coach Warren's scout, it's his job to prepare and know all the answers prior to Coach asking it. So he should watch, in essence, more film than the head coach. So in my eyes, as the video guy, it's my responsibility to watch more film than he does. So if he's got questions for me prior to going to coach, I can have those ready for him.
How about if, say, Robert Carter comes to you and says, hey, I think I'm falling away in my shot. Can I take a look at something? Can you break it down?
Absolutely. So what we'll do is as much as scouting the opponent, it's very much scouting ourselves. So we'll spend a lot of time with our own games, our own practices, even this time of the season, and helping making sure all of our players have everything they need from a film point of view.
Sure.
Whether it's watching NBA players, whether it's watching themselves, whether it's them watching who they're going to guard the opposing game, and making sure we have all that stuff available and ready for those guys at any time.
My goodness. It's mind-boggling. People think it's just a basketball game.
Sure.
It's more than just a basketball game.
Johnny, I think you said it best. What would we do without Mark Bialkoski?
Yeah, exactly.
I think he says it best, and you asked a specific question, whether it's one of the players wants to know, hey, am I falling away from a jump shot? So he was just talking about games. We also videotape individual workouts. We videotape practice. So our guys can watch themselves in practice. I think we all, as competitors, as former players and now coaches, we can all say, hey, the quote that we like to use is, and this is not grammatically correct, but the film doesn't lie. And we say the film don't lie. But we make sure that the kids understand, hey, come on, watch the film. So today you might have got challenged by the coaching staff. You might have got challenged by your teammates. You might have got you might have got called out today because you turned the ball over or you faded away or you didn't play defense. And you think, wow, I thought I was playing pretty good. Okay, after
let's
practice,
take a look.
Let's watch it on film. And most of the players will say, you know what, you were right, coach, because now I see myself on film. And no one likes to see themselves the next day when we start watching film of a previous game when you were on the negative side, if you will, on the correctable errors. They're like, ooh, that was me. I didn't block out 3 or 4 times. So, again, I think our players take it to heart, and I think our players do a really good job of asking Mark specifically, hey, Mark, would you mind sending me a couple of clips of me guarding or me on offense so that I can watch it on my very own iPad. That way the other coaches don't have to critique me. I can critique myself.
And, Mark, do you also do videos for the scout team to show them what the other team's going to run so they can learn those plays?
We do. So in terms of preparing for a scout, we'll take a team's opposing games. We'll break down all of their actions based on a balanced defense, what they're running, what they're trying to do, ball screen defense, anything we can get to find any answers that we feel like might come in our game. How are they going to guard a certain action that might be similar to ours? And then we'll go from there and we'll take those actions and we'll show our scout team. So now they have an opportunity to see what plays they're running, so they have a feel, an idea of, all right, maybe that screen isn't really quite the elbow, it's a little more NBA lane line. So that allows me to know as a scout, if I'm Varun, if I'm Trevor, if I'm Andrew, what are they trying to accomplish with this play? So when we're running against our starters, they know exactly what the opposing team's trying to do with this set. That's kind of the idea behind it.
I would love to have somebody follow you with a camera someday and just take you through one particular day of what you do. It would be mind-boggling.
Whoever's going to follow him, make sure they got a lot of coffee, no-dos, and tennis shoes. Because Mark's one of those guys who, again, I told him when he first started working, I respect guys who get in the office early and stay late, and I pride myself on getting in early. He always beats me in the office, so I'm a little pissed off that he's beating me in the office. And again, it's because of what he does, the nature of his duties and responsibilities.
And dedication.
He has to be in there early. He has to be there late and throughout the day because there are so many people that need and want help from him.
Mark, stick around. We've got Dave Neal coming up on the phone in just a second. We're going to get back to you after we take a break. Mark Bialkoski, who is the video coordinator, his first year with the University of Maryland. Very important part of the Terrapins being 23-6 this season. We'll go back in time and visit with Dave Neal when we come back on the Mark Turgeon Radio Show. Johnny Holiday along with Cliff Warren, and Dave Neal is next after these messages.
Here's Mark Turgeon and Johnny Holiday.
And our live guest tonight is brought to you by Capital One Bank. That's the official bank of Maryland Athletics. And I'm speaking of live, as close to live as he can be on the phone. That's Dave Neal. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How about yourself?
Excellent. Thanks so much for joining us. And you are back home in this area after growing up in McLean, going to Bishop O'Connell High School, and came to Maryland back when you played 2005 and 6 and 7 and 8. And 8 and 9, and you had yourself a tremendous senior year. 35 games you played. What memories do you have most of all of playing with Gary Williams and the Terrapins?
I mean, it's hard to kind of pinpoint one memory. I mean, the whole entire 4 years was a dream come true. I mean, I grew up a Terps fan, growing up in this area. We used to go to the Cole Fieldhouse to watch Gary play, and just get the chance and the honor to be coached by him for 4 years was awesome. But I think in a nutshell, my senior year was probably the best memory that I have from being a Terrapin. I mean, that's the kind of most impact I had in the season. Came in there and started all but one game, led my team to an NCAA tournament, and we won the first game. But, I mean, just what we did and how our team rallied together, given what we had on our team, was just one of the most awesome moments that I could probably will never forget. And
you had some pretty good teammates around you, too. Mike Jones and DJ Strawberry and James Gist and Gravis, of course, and Kenny Abekwe.
Yeah, I mean, I played with some great guys. I mean, those are just to name a few. I mean, Nick Cantor-Medley, Will Bowers, Eric Hayes, Landon. I mean, those were all, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better bunch of teammates in my 4 years there, especially my senior year. I mean, those guys really kind of buckled down, and we kind of stuck together through a long season, but came out and did a very good job with me being the lone senior. I mean, those guys kind of really jumped on board, and with Gravis leading the team from the point guard standpoint with Eric, I mean, we just put together one of the best seasons that we could have done.
Dave, I would agree. This is Cliff Warren, and I was just talking to Johnny off air, and I said, I remember when Dave was playing at O'Connell. At the time, I was coaching at Mount St. Mary's, and he would come work camp, et cetera, et cetera. But when he got to Maryland, I thought, well, hey, he's going to have the impact of, if I may use the term, a glue guy. He's been the glue guy at Maryland, and every good team, championship teams, have to have a glue guy. And I said to him off air, I said, well, DeMonte Dodd, just to name one person on our team, I think is a glue guy. He
100%.
Took pride in screening for teammates, pushing, shoving, getting a foul to help their teammates score, to rebound, to win the game, being the cheerleader on the bench. being the rough house guy in practice. Everybody needs one of those guys, and I thought, again, I never saw a practice when you were there, but I saw you play a few times at Maryland, and I always thought, hey, Dave Neal is the epitome of a glue guy for a really good team.
Yeah, and I mean, that was kind of my mentality. I mean, I think you hit it on the point. I mean, I was one of those guys. I mean, just to have the opportunity to play for Coach Williams in the University of Maryland, I mean, I every single day my mentality was to give it all and leave it all on the floor, and that's what I did. And I can remember before going into my senior year, Coach Williams sat me down and was pretty much like, this is going to be your year if you want it. And he gave me a list of things I need to work on and kind of do, and I was like, that's a pretty special moment to have a Hall of Fame coach like Gary Williams sitting you down in his office and telling you that you got a chance to kind of own this team and kind of do what you want to do with this team. And I took that to heart, and every single day when I came into practice, if it was the weight room, if it was the basketball court, if it was the locker room, I was leaving everything on the court. I knew it was my last year to play as a Maryland Terrapin, so that's kind of what I wanted to go out as. I wanted to go out as a bruiser, the guy who kind of left everything on the court, and luckily it kind of went the way we wanted it to go. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly was my mentality. I mean, that's kind of how I got to where I came to be as a Maryland player. I mean, I had to do that to kind of make myself the best basketball player that I could.
Sure, and Dave, again, I think you did that, and clearly to me, and not that Dave is old, but I think Dave played with an old soul.
Dave's got some miles on him now.
I wasn't going to say that, Johnny. I wasn't going to throw him under the bus, but okay.
He still looks good, but
he played with an old soul. He played like an old school player. He played with a sense of pride. He played with a sense of, hey, I am appreciative of what Gary Williams gave me, as opposed to some players playing with entitlement. I think he played with some pride and said, hey, I'm going to thank you every day for giving me the opportunity, as opposed to saying, hey, what else can you do for me? He said, no, here's what I'm going to do for you, Gary Williams in Maryland.
Hey, Dave, I took the opportunity today. I went to YouTube to watch once again. I've only seen it about 30 times. The screen you set on Nolan Smith of Duke. You remember
I mean, that funny that you say that. I was actually out to dinner tonight with my mom, my girlfriend, and my brother, and that pic came up. It's been kind of flashing around Facebook here just recently with all these Throwback Thursdays, and it came back. I mean, I actually talked to Nolan Smith via Facebook about 2 weeks ago about that screen. It was the first time we ever had communication from it. And I mean, there was definitely no hard feelings. You just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Sure.
But yeah. It is. I mean, it gets me fired up every single time I see that play. But I mean, it's going to happen in those types of games. It's loud, hostile. But yeah, I mean, it's always fun to kind of go back and see that play kind of run again on YouTube.
Hey, before we let you go, talk a little bit about playing for the Ulster Elks over in the Irish Super League. You were Player of the Month in the month that you got nominated and won the Player of the Month award. You averaged 27 points and 14 rebounds, 3 assists a game.
It was an awesome experience. I mean, I was over there for about 8 months. I also went to school to get a master's in sports management, but just the opportunity to go say I played overseas for 1 year, especially kind of seeing Northern Ireland and getting exposed to Belfast with all the history and tradition behind that, was definitely awesome. Actually, we got put into that position by Coach McKillop. He's real big in the Irish community, and he reached out to me one afternoon in the summer. It was like, you want an opportunity to go play? And, I mean, that's every kid's dream that plays basketball, either go play professionally or go get to play a year overseas or how many years overseas. And when I got that phone call, it was something I couldn't turn down. And, yeah, I had a very good year. I made some friends that I'll never forget that I still go over there and see. And I mean, the basketball was awesome, and kind of getting exposed to that international game a little bit was definitely a huge plus as well.
And Dave, before I let you go, I know you're still playing in some leagues, not professional leagues, still playing basketball, but also doing something else to help people and kind of mentor them as far as their programs are concerned and their performances are concerned, their presentations. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I got into IT recruiting. So I recruit IT professionals for clients around the D.C. metropolitan area. Got into do that. Actually, my old boss was a Maryland graduate, and he kind of reached out to me. And the one thing I find kind of neat about it is I see a lot of similarities into the recruiting industry as well as in the coaching. I mean, you're mentoring these people through interviewing, you're mentoring and kind of coaching them through obstacles that they go through in the work environment. And that's kind of what I mean, everyone says I would have been an outstanding coach. And thinking back on it, I mean, it could have been something I should have maybe pursued coming right out of college, but I got the opportunity to go play overseas. But been doing this for about 3 years now. Really enjoy it. I mean, as we all know, the IT kind of runs the world, so it's always going to be around. And being in the D.C. area where it's a lot of contractors that are looking for jobs all the time, it definitely keeps you on your feet and keeps you busy.
Hey, Dave, thanks so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. And something else they can never take away from you, senior year, co-most valuable player with Gravis Vasquez. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I couldn't go out a better way, and
No.
I mean, those memories that I still think about them all the time.
I'll see you soon. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
All right. See you, Coach Warren. See you, Johnny.
Dave.
Okay, Dave Neal with us. We'll come back in just a moment. We've got some emails in the Mark Turgeon Radio Show from Buffalo Wild Wings in College Park.
Now, once again, live from Buffalo Wild Wings in College Park, here's Mark Turgeon and Johnny Holiday.
Mark Bialkoski is with us tonight, the video coordinator at the University of Maryland. Mark, what time will you be in the office tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning, I'll get in at 7:30 tomorrow morning. Again, for me, in the support staff role, I want to make sure every coach has what they need before they get into the office. So I think it's my responsibility to beat them into the office, so to speak. So for me, at least 7:30, that'll give me a good 45 minutes to an hour to get anything I need to get done prior to any of the coaches coming in.
I might also add, Mark will not be leaving at 9. You'll be there all day long.
Correct. So tomorrow with a 4 o'clock practice, it'll be some time before we leave.
And then you video the practice?
We have Chris Shields, who's actually here with us, one of our senior managers. He'll actually be part of senior night as well. He's somebody also looking to get into either coaching, a video role, anything into sports.
Okay.
So that gives him an opportunity to kind of, what do we do internally? How does film work? How do we break down the film? How does, the computer and all those little intricacies from a day-to-day operation present itself? It gives him an opportunity to see all that.
Okay, got some emails now from the inbox for head coach Mark Turgeon and also assistant coach Cliff Warren, brought to you by the University of Maryland Medical Center. This is from Colin Turner from Towson, Maryland, coach. For the seniors, Thursday night's their last time playing in a sold-out crowd in College Park. How do you keep the players focused on playing their game and not letting their emotions get the best of them?
Well, I think Coach Turgeon does a dynamite job of making sure the players just stick to the script, if you will, stick to the game plan.
Yeah.
You talked about what Mark does in video. We talked about what Coach Turgeon does in practice. So I think our guys understand to take the approach of, hey, it's another game. Yes, some of the guys will be a little extra juiced and a little bit extra emotional because their families, their siblings,
And the ceremony ahead of time.
their loved ones will be there. So, yeah, right before the game, there's some emotions that don't normally come into effect for games. But I think once the beginning, the ceremony goes past and the game starts, I think everybody will settle down. And always, if you're a player who's always played, the minute you get hit or the minute you hit somebody, okay, I've got it now.
Yeah.
Emotions have gone out the window. I've got to play my game.
Mark, here's one for you from Chuck Barfield in Arlington, Virginia. What's been the most memorable moment that you've filmed at home or on the road this season for Maryland?
I think with this team in particular, first time we really as a group got a chance to get together was at Coach's house. We got a chance to learn how and to eat crabs as a group. We got a chance to talk. Anytime we get together, we try to film it all the time so we can go back and we can watch it. We can put pieces together, whether it's for recruiting material or something we can come back and reflect on later in the season. So I think the first time we as a team had an opportunity to get together at Coach's house, I know me in particular had to learn how to eat crabs. It was the first time, not being from Florida, didn't have the opportunity to eat them as a kid.
No crabs in Jacksonville?
No crabs, a lot for me. But it was a chance for us as a team to kind of, outside of basketball, start to learn about each other a little bit off the court. I think it was a really good time for us chemistry-wise. So I think for us to film that and to watch that and kind of see where we were then and where we are now, what we've gone through and where we are, I think it's a testament to Coach and what he's done so far.
Well, Illinois is coming up this coming Thursday night at Xfinity Center. It'll be sold out. It is senior night. We'll talk about the Illini with Coach Warren when we come back in just a minute on the Mark Turgeon Radio Show from Buffalo Wild Wings in College Park.
Wild Wings in College Park. Here's Mark Turgeon and Johnny Holiday.
And the Miller Coors Cold Hard Fact Series history brought to you by Coors Brewing Company. 21 means 21. The series is tied at 5-5. And, Coach, you scouted Illinois last year. They come in 13-16 and fresh off that 84-70 win over Minnesota yesterday.
As you mentioned, they're going to have, coming into the game, they'll have the warm and fuzzies. They won their senior night the other day. Everybody got a chance to play. They played really well. They scored 80-plus points. They're going to come in this year, and their mainstay from day one has been playing tough defense and playing hard the entire time.
Coach, great to have you with us. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. My pleasure.
Always a pleasure. We missed you the last trip, so I hope you're healthy and strong and ready to go.
I'll be there Thursday. Mark Bialkoski and head assistant coach Cliff Warren, thanks for joining us. For Tom Marquito, I'm Johnny Holiday. We'll talk to you Thursday night, 7 o'clock from Xfinity Center. Good night.